Hey guys, welcome back to part number 5 of my F-15C video build series, and we're almost there. So this part we're going to do weathering, so we're going to get it nice and dirty and make it like a really well used line jet. So we use power line washes and neat oils. So as always, let's go ahead and get started. Hey, welcome back. Last week's episode we did the painting. This week we're going to do weathering. Now, full disclaimer, I can weather it the same way as I weathered all my previous video builds, to be honest with you. So, yeah, so sorry for repetition, but you know, it's a system that works for me, and I think modeling, if you do something that works and looks good, then stick with it. So, no new kind of, nothing new exciting, but if you haven't seen my videos before, then this will be new to you, I guess. So, we're going to do two-stage weathering. Now, we're going to do a power line wash, and then we're going to come up with a few little neat oils just to kind of create a little bit more grime and dirt. So this has been painted, obviously, and it's been clear coated, gloss clear coat, and it's been left to dry overnight. Just kind of really kind of set and hardened up. We're using the power line wash today. We're going to use it, as always, we're using Flory Models Dark Dirt. If you use a matte coat, it's really going to stick and make it real super grimy. Satin's going to be half and half. If you do gloss, which I like to do, it just leaves it in the power line. So when you wipe it away, in theory, it just leaves that beautiful detail on the power lines, and the rest of it is pretty much clean. It comes off easier. So that's why I use a gloss. So if you're new to using these washes as well, I'd recommend a gloss coat. Now this is getting to the end of the bottle a little bit, so it's getting a little bit thick. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of water here. So tiny little bit of water in the bottom. I'm just going to kind of mix it with the this guy. Make a bit of a watery kind of coat. Again, it'll come off a lot easier. You can mix it with water. You can mix the colours up too. Again, this is dark dirt. There's tons of different colours out there. Well, say tons. There's probably what, half a dozen, 8, something like that. Okay, just mix it up. Soft bristle brush, and all you're going to do is just literally wipe it all over the model. Easy as that. So. Now, what I want to be careful is I want to be careful of the metallic parts because I want to weather that separately. So even though I wipe off, I don't really want to get all the metallic parts. Also, right here by the intake, there's a little bit of rough paint work. It's not perfectly. It looks okay from a distance. We look closely. It's not perfectly, you know. It's not perfect how I would like it. So I'm going to avoid that little area too because otherwise this wash can get stuck in it all. So again, just wiping it on. And you can already kind of see through it. Well, maybe you can't on the camera, but you can see the panel lines kind of starting to pop a little bit. So again, I'm just kind of be careful here with metallic parts. Again, it's not a big deal if it does go on there, but I'd rather not. Just makes things a little bit easier. So you know what, I'm going to do half the jet right now. And then we get a contrast. So wipe it on. Same with horizontal stabilizers and the tails. And this dark dirt's a really nice colour, so it just gives that subtle, when you wipe it off, it just gives that subtle kind of dirty, grimy kind of look. If you went with something like a black, I mean, that's more the Japanese kind of manga kind of thing, it might look a little bit too stark. If you're using like what I like it if I'm using like painting like a dark blue model, I think grey looks really good, the grey wash. You can airbrush this stuff on too. I mean, if I'm doing armor or something like that, or say a rally car as an example, you can just airbrush it on. It works perfectly good. I don't use my really nice airbrush though. I just use a cheap Chinese $10 eBay airbrush. Because obviously there's a lot of clay and stuff in this. Okay. What we can do too is we want some the wiring to continue across the whole jet. So like the pylons, exactly the same. Oh. Just get it everywhere basically. Fuel tank. What else have we got? The gear doors. Just going to do the outside with the dark dirt. I like use more of a black or dark color from the inside, like the gear and the gear doors. Just going through my list, my various little parts here. So all these little gear doors, and I've got a couple more. I think that is it. So just these last couple. And that is it. It's cool. So what I'm going to do now is, you see it's already starting to dry, I'm going to leave it 30 minutes just to dry, and then come back with a paper towel and we're just going to wipe it off. So obviously we've got to do we've got a couple things. So we've got to do the underside and obviously this side here. So this stuff's going to be fine in the pot right here, especially a little bit of water. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be fine for a few hours. So eventually that will evaporate. So what we'll do is, again, we'll leave it for 30 minutes. We'll come back and then we'll start taking the wash off. Right, so it's been about 45 minutes now, to be honest with you, since I put this on. So it's dry and we can go take it off. So it's pretty simple. I cut a little square of kitchen roll, paper towel. And all you can do is wipe it off. Now I find more circle motions can help too. If it's real stubborn, just like literally lick it or a little bit of water and it wipes it right off too. This does come off with water, so if you do screw it up, typically you can get it off and go again if you're not happy with it. There we go. So see, I'm just circle motions and it's already coming off, which is really good. Just being a little bit more careful here because I know we've got those decals of the intakes right there. Just gonna get, if you can't get in some of these areas, come back with a Q-tip or a cotton bud. I somewhat go and kind of, sorry, you can't see that strap. Strap's in the way. There you go. Sorry. Somewhat go in a good direction with the flow of the air too. Okay, and there you go. So, try to turn the light off actually, you might see it better. So you can see that side we're not done, and that side we have done. So you see how it subtly kind of picks up those power lines. And especially when you have a camo scheme too, it really makes the colours kind of stand out and really kind of ties it all together, I think. So I hope we can kind of see that. So none on this side. Now I need to go over that again, do the edges and stuff, but let me put the light back on and we'll do the sky. And yeah, you go again. So, I'm sure you guys got better things to do with time to sit and watch 20 minutes for me to wipe all this stuff off, but I'll get the rest. What I'll do is I'll get the rest of this wash off. I'll put wash on the other side and the underneath, which we've not done yet, obviously. and then we'll come back and I'll kind of show you how it all looks. Okay, so where at? So since we last spoke, got the wash all over. You see it picks out those power lines beautifully, very subtly, and the underside too. And what I did back here on the end where kind of exhaust nozzle go, I came back with a little black power line wash. When I do metallics, I always like this best. This does really good. I have the grey and the brown. For some reason it doesn't work very good. It's very thin, but the black does a great job, especially metallics. Give it a good shake. Be very careful with this. Just a tiny little dab. Just dab it in and it just really flows around all those power lines. So you can kind of see back there. See how it kind of picks it out on the back there. So that was all done. Let it dry, obviously, and then I hit it with a flat coat. My usual XF86, been around for years and still the best. Flat clear XF86. You see, it's not totally flat. I didn't hose it on. I just did a decent kind of normal coat. The reason we're adding the flat matte coat now is this is my final clear coat. From here on in, we're going to add some neats and then neat oils in a minute. And as I mentioned, you need something for the neat oils to grip to, so that's why you have the flat. If you do gloss, it'll just wipe right off. It wouldn't stick. When I did put the flat coat on, I did kind of try to avoid the metallic areas on here, so I kind of sprayed, didn't go right to the edge. I left this because obviously you want the metallic sheen, you don't want to make it flat, so I kind of avoided those areas and sprayed the rest of the aircraft. So that's that. One thing you probably see in my videos too, here too, I'm going to zoom out so you can kind of see it properly. I get you some Amazon 1 ounce cups with lids. There's a number if you need it. Basically, it's just these little. Zoom back in again. Oh, knocking the camera around. So basically, it's these little cups which you saw me with a wash, like little sauce cups, and you also get the lids too, which is kind of handy because I use them again putting a little bit of glue in or paint and that kind of stuff. So you get what I think 100 in here for about $5 on Amazon Prime. And this lasts me for about 2 years, to be honest with you. So, really handy, good little thing. Just more shadows for you guys, what I use too. So, yeah, mixing little washes up and stuff. You can use also little metal trays, which work great too. With the plastic, disposable, just throw them away once you've used them. With these clay washers, you can literally just wash it out with water, and they're clean, and you can just use them again, I guess. Once they're dried, I use a little bit of super glue and all kinds of stuff. So, real handy. Right, so now enough waffling, let's kind of move on to our last stage of weathering here, which would be neat oils. Again, I apologise if you follow the channel, I've done this tons of times before, but I'm just going to go through it again in case you haven't seen it. So, what we're going to use some enamel thinners. These happen to be MIG, but you can use, I've got AKs, I've got Abteilung, you've got Tamir's enamel thinners. What works really good is these guys too. If you can get this one, the blue top. These thinners work fine, but basically you want a good quality enamel thinner. Don't go to like the hardware store and get like the cheap stuff in a gallon. For this you want something a little bit more refined. It doesn't kind of smell and super bad. So got that. My usual brushes I use for oils. One for applying it. Like this is really stiff, which is really good for kind of like dragging it, blending it. And this is more of a lighter, softer brush. So they're my three brushes which I go to for oils. We'll take a Q-tip. We always need one of those. Paper towel or a piece of cardboard, and the oils. So this time I've used various colours and with greys, and you know what, I always end up coming back to smoke. So if I start with Starship Fill for some other colour, I always do smoke. So I've had this for a couple of years, maybe 3 years, and you can see how much I've used. This lasts a lifetime, these oils. They're not crazy expensive, about $5 a tube. I probably have about 20 tubes. But this is the colour I always use. And then faded dark yellow for any hydraulic stains. Even though it says yellow, it's actually more of an orange colour. So these are my two go-to colours. Smoke, I just like this colour best. I keep going to other colours, but always come back to this in the end and redo it with this. So I guess let me kind of talk you through the process here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to squeeze a little bit out of the tube. Just need a tiny little bit, especially being semi-second scale. So we're not going to go crazy with this one, I should mention too. Let me just clean kind of the tube while I talk. We're not going to go crazy with this one. It's not going to be like a beaten up like Russian scrapyard kind of deal. It's going to be a slight, touch bit of weathering. We're going to add a few little, extenuate some panel lines, that kind of stuff is what we're aiming for here. So, the parts are coming with, blended panels and that kind of stuff. But again, in this scale, it is a, I'm just noticing it's got a bit of white. So in this scale, okay, so that's not a good start. So I had a little bit on my finger, and I went to pick the aircraft up and got it all over it. But if you can see, let's see here how easy it comes off. There's some white frosting on there for some reason, but anyway, see it comes off immediately, like. Cool. Check my fingers good. So actually, what I'll do is now is a good tip too is I'll put a glove on, so I'll get my fingerprints, all this stuff. So just usual nitrile glove. So alright. So what I was saying. So the reason I'm using the paper towel is really because it helps absorb some of the oil out, so it dries a lot quicker. To be honest, I don't get tons of oil out of these. Sometimes when I see people on YouTube, they get like huge puddles of oil off the these oils, but for some reason I don't get many. I don't know why, but anyway. So what you're gonna do is my little brush. I'm just gonna add some, and then really take off the excess. And then we're gonna pick out some panel lines. So let's start maybe like this guy. And then literally just drawing it on. A little bit goes a very, very long way, so you're not going to put too much on here. Just really a little bit. And then we're going to go, hopefully you can see that okay. Go down here, down there. And again, we're not going to go too crazy with this oils. We're just going to, just do a little bit just to kind of pick out the odd line. So once it's on, all you're going to do is take my stiff brush here and just blend it in. Just following the panel lines. Really just kind of like putting makeup on, I guess. Not that I ever do put makeup on, but just blending it in. It's going to add like nice kind of grimy look to go with a power line wash. Now the beauty of this stuff too is it comes off so easily with a little bit of enamel thinners. So the reason I have my Q-tips here is if I just dip it in a tiny little bit of that enamel thinners and just wipe it, it'll come off immediately. It's a tiny little drop. Basically, probably one little drop could probably remove everything on this whole aircraft. So, I mean, yeah. And there you kind of go. Hopefully you can kind of see that, see how it's kind of, let me turn the light off again to get rid of that glare so you can kind of see it in real light, how it kind of, see how it kind of oil works. And it's going to fade back and dry too. It takes a few days to dry, so put like the light back on so I can see what I'm doing. So you can also, what you can do is add the flaps here, just a few like little dots, and we're going to create some like kind of streaks. Do actually a little bit too much on my brush, and we want to go on the flap, from the flaps too, the slats. Very little. See, I'm putting very little on. That's the key with this. Put a few down the middle. Probably want to put one across here too. Okay, back to blending again. And I'm looking at this. It looks a little heavy, maybe. So we'll see. I'll keep working at it. If it looks, this bit here looks real heavy to me, so I'm going to come back with a Q-tip and get rid of some of that stuff. Again, we're not looking for a, Russian scrapyard job. We're looking for a, heavily weathered line jet, which is a kind of fine line, I guess. Now I know people are probably screaming at the screen right now, but this is the way I like to heavily weather my stuff. That's just the way personal preference, I guess. Some people like things like showroom clean stuff, but for me, it's I like the some dirt and some really create some visual appeal to this guy. And now you can see too where I leave off the tail planes and stuff. We'll do that all separately, and it'll be glued on the end. Just makes it a little bit easier again to kind of work with this. And there, we're looking pretty good. So, like I said, we're a little heavy with that one, so I'm going to get a Q-tip, and actually in the lid, I'm just going to pour some enamel thinner. Just dab it in, and you can see instantly this is going to remove it. See how easy that is? I mean, I'll just come back with my brush again, just blend it back in. And much better. Easy as that. Again, a little bit too heavy on its front here, maybe. So I'm just going to, each side of the pound line, just going to take a little bit more off. And the other side of Q-tip, just remove it and blend it back in. That is looking pretty good. So I'm going to work my way around my rest of the aircraft. Again, I don't want to tie you guys up for all day seeing me do it, but let me work around the rest, and then when I come back to doing hydraulic stuff, I'll put the camera back on and we'll talk about that in a minute or two. Okay, so I've gone ahead and done it across the whole jet and the bottom. Looks nicer on actually light colour. It actually looks nicer as smoke than on top, but there you go. What I forgot to do, I turned the camera off and I forgot to talk about why you're here. So remember I put a few dots? So what I did with the few dots were, as you can see, I just took the brush and just swept them back, those dots, and blended them back so you can get these kind of like streaks on the wings, on the flaps. Overall, it might, once I put the oils on it, a little bit looks a little bit stark, like too much for me, looked too weathered, so I brought it back a little bit. So just a paper towel screwed up, literally just rubbed it again with line the pound lines and just took off, you see on there the extra, some extra oil, just to kind of dial it back a little bit, because we don't want it too crazy, we just want it nicely weathered. So kind of happy how it's going. Obviously also did the fuel tank. Focuses. This just won't pick up the aircraft in the background, but you can see that I've done a fuel tank a little bit, and also all the tails and that kind of stuff. On here, see how I just darkened up along the back here, at the front, and on the inside. So hydraulic stains. Again, this is going to be very subtle. Just a tiny little bit needed, and this isn't going to be like super leaky kind of crap all over the place, but just clean my brush off the dock. I'm just going to pick out a few spots. And like that, see, it just need a little bit more oil. Don't quite have enough on here. There we go. Let's get the fuel tank. Just kind of picking out where all like the panels are and stuff. A little bit too much. Just wipe some back. And just, it's very subtle. Just slight change of color. And we'll just do a couple more. So we'll do maybe one on the top. And here's, to be honest, like I say, I don't really care so much about the accuracy. I mean, if you look at reference materials, you can find when they kind of leak. Again, I'm more for the artistic kind of look on these guys. If I can do a little bit there. Just, you see, very subtle. I don't think you can see it. Don't go crazy on this. And we'll do one more. We'll do one like there. Actually, do two. And again, I'm just looking where the kind of panels are. Pretend it's kind of leaking from there. And I forgot where I did it. There it is. And that's pretty much it. I'm just blending it in with paper towel again. So let me turn the light off once again. Hopefully get like natural light. Very subtle. See a little bit of it on top. You kind of see what a little yellowy. I might just dial it back a little bit. And there we go. So that's it. That's how you weather neat oils. Again, I've done it several times. Hopefully it gives you an idea. This is one way, just a basic, simple way of doing it. Semi-second scale, I think this is fine. If you want to go over the top like I do with larger scales, that's when you bring in all of the other colours, and you can like kind of dial the panels. Oh, dropping everything. So like you can bring like a grey, for example, and add it into a lot of the panel line, and dial back a panel. All that kind of stuff. The fact this has a two-tone camouflage already, I don't want to go and adjust panel colours. If it was just a plain grey, like a plain grey Hornet or something, I might consider, picking up panels of grey or maybe some buff or some other colours, and just really kind of play and tweak the kind of the shades and stuff, and panels inside the panels and that kind of stuff. Again, semi-second scale, and with two-tone camo, I'm quite happy the way this looks. I just want to kind of grime it up. Looks heavy weathered now, and I'm pretty happy with that. It's going to dry, takes about, fully dry, probably 4 or 5 days, to be honest with you. So wear a glove in the meantime before then, and just it will mellow back and kind of dial in nicely too. So let's put the light back on. So that's where we're at. So that's weathering. So I mean, it's a little bit repetitive. I apologize for that, but that's just my process, and it seems to work pretty good for me. So in the meantime, this is how I do it. So hopefully you find that interesting. If you do, please consider subscribing. You get notifications on my latest videos. Currently I put videos up on a Tuesday and a Friday, and next week will be probably the final part. There's not too much to do here. We just got to really basically, from here on in, once the oil's dried, it's just literally put on the gear and engine nozzles, and we're done, I think, pretty much with that, the pylons and stuff. So yeah, we're almost done, probably 95% there. So again, thanks everybody, appreciate the kind words, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.